Amanda Sander here from MeetAdvisors.com, and I'm joined with Daniel Yu, founder and CEO of Reliefwatch. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Thank you so much for coming into our office.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to start off with asking you to tell our audience a little bit about you and your background.
Absolutely. So I'm the founder and CEO of Reliefwatch, a platform for organizations in the developing world to track essential supplies through basic mobile phones. The problem we focus on is clinics and health centers in the developing world that don't have access to information systems to keep track of what they have. And we use mobile phones as a way to circumvent those infrastructure problems in order to allow them to keep track of what they have and avoid stockouts and expired drugs, which is a huge problem in those places. So
how does this typically work? Because you said the most basic phone, so that doesn't mean they don't need to have the most updated iPhone. So it's literally the most basic phones, and then how does that work?
Yeah, so we focus on voice calls. So any phone can call someone, any phone can get a call. So what our system actually does is it will call health clinic workers on a pre-scheduled routine basis and actually run through the products that they have in stock and ask them how much they have of it. So for example, how many bottles of ibuprofen do you have? How many bottles of acetaminophen do you have? And they respond to that just via the keys on the number pad. And that information is immediately updated then in a cloud system, which a warehouse manager or administrative staff person hundreds or thousands of miles away can then immediately log on to and see, so they know what the clinic has and what they need.
So let's say this clinic is running out of ibuprofen and they only have 2 bottles left. How do they get the medicine delivered to them? So, and also, what is the lowest amount where then someone's going to come and deliver it?
Yeah, so the big problem right now, is that there's simply no transfer of information. So the supplier doesn't even know that they only have 2 bottles left. Right? What we do with the system, as we're constantly updating information, is actually providing that stream of information so that there's never an emergency situation where they only have 2 bottles left. Right? The whole idea is now being proactive, so they actually get alerts beforehand. They get alerts that say, hey, this clinic is running low on this particular product. They need to be resupplied.
And then it just gets delivered to that clinic?
Yeah, I mean, it integrates with the existing transportation logistics supply chains that they have. So instead of previously what they used to do was basically randomly send out trucks with a random assortment of products and expect that that was what the clinics needed, which often case wasn't the situation. So now they actually are informed about what they need, they know what to fill the trucks up with, and they know when they need to be sending them out.
So where do you see these clinics that are using your product the most?
So we're currently live in Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama. So we've been running those programs in clinics for about 8 months now, since last summer. And we'll be expanding our programs now to Liberia as well as Benin in West Africa too.
Wow. And so how did you come up with this topic? Why did you come up with it? What's kind of the story behind it?
Sure. So I actually came up with the idea in the summer of 2012 while I was living in rural Egypt. So I was in this very small town on the Red Sea, and while I was there, I happened to go into the local health clinic one day, and I saw this whole shelf of expired medicine. And when I asked the pharmacist who ran this clinic what was going on, he said, that's not even my biggest problem. I have all these other essential drugs as well that I'm completely stocked out of. People come in, they need those, and there's nothing I can do. So my background is actually as a developer, and I just intuitively looked at the situation from a technical standpoint and thought, why isn't there an information system in place keeping track of what they have? And realized that they didn't have computers, didn't have internet, but everybody had a mobile phone. And so I did a little bit of research and realized that you actually can integrate with the most basic of mobile phones to still keep track of information through voice calls, through SMS, and integrate that with a larger system.
Wow. So what are some of the challenges that you've seen growing the business?
So I would say the biggest challenge has really been getting off the ground. Taking that initial idea and turning that into something tangible that you can actually find customers with, create partnerships through, and especially in the space that we're working in, which is international NGOs and governments. There's definitely don't move as quickly as even organizations here. So that first step of finding somebody to get a partnership to just get something off the ground was definitely really tough.
So recently you were just in England and you got an award. So will you share with us kind of what that award was? How did you get it? What's the story behind it?
Absolutely. So yes, we were just named the winner of the Prince of Wales Young Entrepreneurs Prize, which was part of a global entrepreneurship competition sponsored by Prince Charles as well as Unilever and the University of Cambridge. And this was a competition that involved over 800 companies around the world from 88 different countries, I believe. So really, truly global in its reach. And we were brought out to England as one of 7 finalists in this competition, where we had the opportunity to meet with a number of different people, leaders in entrepreneurship as well as sustainable thinking, as well as to do the final presentation for this competition. Which was fantastic. And after that, for the final award presentation, it was actually a banquet dinner presented by Prince Charles himself. And he went up, did a big speech, and announced us as being the winner of the prize. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, got a chance to meet the prince, shake his hand. And
Wow. And for this, did you apply for it, or were you chosen to kind of be entered? How did that work?
So we did apply for it back last summer, I believe, so quite a while ago. Yeah. As one of over 800 companies that applied originally, and then through the following months, kind of went through the process, had some interviews and different rounds of judging to eventually get to the finals.
Wow. So kind of moving away from the company and a little more onto you, what drove you to become an entrepreneur? Did you always kind of have that in you? Or did you fall into it when you were in Egypt? How did it come?
I think it definitely was a confluence of both parts. So I have always considered myself an ideas guy. But at the same time, I think the particular opportunity to be faced with a problem that I knew that I could address was a catalyst for devoting myself to this idea and becoming an entrepreneur in the process. So really seeing that idea while I was in Egypt and realizing this is something that I can make a difference with, that was the key driver there.
Wow. So kind of wrapping things up, what is that one piece of advice that you would give to our community of entrepreneurs on Meet Advisors?
Absolutely. I'd say that as an entrepreneur, it's really easy to get driven by the vision, right? Everybody thinks about the big picture, and that's what excites them, and it should. But the important thing from there is to be able to step back and think about the little things, the small details of what do I need to do today to take the first steps towards achieving that vision. And oftentimes it's something boring like sending an email or making a call, but it's true, like those are the small steps that get aggregated to actually make a big difference over time. And for me, what I've realized in this process is that it really is about the details and figuring out what am I going to do today, right now, to get moving forward. And that's that.
There you go. Where can people find you? What's your website?
Absolutely. Our website is www.reliefwatch.com. Feel free to reach out. My name is Daniel. My email is daniel@reliefwatch.com. I'm happy to deal with any questions or provide further information about what we're doing, as well as advice to anybody as well who's getting involved in entrepreneurship, and definitely a huge supporter of social entrepreneurship as well, so people who are looking to do good things as well as good business.
Great. Well, guys, check out reliefwatch.com and check out meetadvisors.com for more videos and blogs.